We know plenty of crazy liberal women are not coping. Many of them started stopping dating men after the election result when Donald Trump was elected. But now this leftie has filmed herself cutting her hair just so men don't approach her. Look at this.
I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead. I let all that get to my head. I don't care, I paint the town red. Bitch, I said what I said.
CJ, why?
You know, I wish I could explain it. I really wish I could put myself in the mind of that woman, but I don't think anyone could or should, right? It's absolutely crazy. These people have hit rock bottom, and Trump derangement syndrome will be studied for generations to come because of people like this. Men weren't approaching her to begin with, and so her cutting her hair, leaving it as it was, doesn't really matter. I don't think things are going to change for her much.
No, it's bizarre. Now, with Donald Trump back, I think many of us were celebrating that woke culture is dead, but this crazy woke agenda, it's sadly still there. It's still being pushed. Megyn Kelly has revealed that at her daughter's all-girls school, the students have to submit their pronouns. Listen to this.
We intentionally chose non-woke schools, and our son's school is definitely non-woke and very reasonable. They're not MAGA, they're just non-woke. They're old school traditionalists the way like we used to be, where they keep this ideology out of the classroom. But our girls' school, our daughter's school, is woke, more woke than I'd like. And first day of school, all the forms are given to my daughter in her classes asking her to say her pronouns. It's an all-girls school. They all have the same damn pronouns. Stop asking this. I really wanted her to say, I don't play that game. I'm not playing the pronoun game, but you couldn't because the forms were electronic and they had to click something in order to go to the next box, and the forms were mandatory. It's infuriating, but that too is a compelled speech in its own way.
CJ, this is just getting ridiculous.
It was getting absurd. I got to tell you, that actually happened to me when I was in college. We were given a piece of paper and we were asked to write down our preferred pronouns. And what I wrote down actually was, if it's not obvious, I'm a little offended.
Excellent response.
That's the thing here. It's like, it's not too much to ask to think that school should be about education, not indoctrination. And I think Megyn is to completely hold her child's educators accountable, and thank God that she's the mama bear that she is.
Let's talk about the Democrats. Plenty of them are still going crazy against Donald Trump's crime crackdown that so far appears to be working very well in DC. And of course, Democrats don't want the National Guard to be sent to Chicago. And it's just insane. Of all the arguments they want to make, some are claiming that Donald Trump is manufacturing a crisis. Listen to this.
Look, anytime that there's crime anywhere in our state or around the country, we want to continue to see progress being made, and we are making progress here in Illinois and in the city of Chicago. But this is not about public safety, and this is not about making our residents safer. What Donald Trump wants to happen is he wants to manufacture a crisis.
CJ, a bizarre argument considering how much crime there is in Chicago. Just over the weekend, 54 people were shot, 7 were killed.
It's an insane argument. And now, just because of, again, the extent of their Trump derangement syndrome, you now have the Democrat Party defending violent crime in this country, defending things like drug trafficking in this country. And I got to tell you, it's a losing argument. It's an 80-20 issue in favor of the president, and he's not backing down. And I got to tell you, it's awfully ironic hearing this from the party of so-called Black Lives Matter, because you know who's dying disproportionately because of these soft on crime policies? Black people. It is single Black mothers who bury their Black children because of their inaction on this issue. And so I got to say, thank you, President Trump, for standing up for Black folks all across this country, and we're grateful for it.
Well said. Let's talk about the Epstein saga. Some of Jeffrey Epstein's victims spoke out about the years of abuse that they suffered in a very emotional 2-hour news conference in Washington, D.C. Here's part of what was said.
And let me announce now, several of us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list of names. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details on that. Because history is watching, and so are the women who will come after us. That's right. Thank you.
CJ, I'm all for transparency, for these names being made public. Clearly there are people who belong behind bars right now, but I'm not sure about this press conference. I think it was something that was supposed to be a really powerful moment for survivors, but we still don't have the names, and I don't really understand the strategy to hold this big press conference saying, we know the names, we are going to be putting our own list together, but not now, at some point in the future. What did you make of it?
I share your concerns about transparency, and I think we all want justice for these victims. What they went through was absolutely unacceptable and has no place in any civil or just society. But what this has become is hijacked as a political chess piece, and it's disgusting. Why weren't these folks, on the left, these Democrat politicians who are now trying to hang this like an albatross around the neck of the president, concerned about the release of this list when Joe Biden was in office? For 4 years, calling for this sort of thing. And so it's awfully inconvenient, or convenient, politically convenient for them. But I got to say, many people are questioning their head as to what some of their motivations may be. Not the victims, but of course the Democrat politicians who are using them as pawns in their political game.
That's exactly right. And we know it's the leftist media's favourite narrative at the moment to really push this Trump and Epstein connection. NBC actually asked survivors this question. Take a listen.
I do have to ask, and I know, and it's just something that I think we're compelled to at this moment, with the attention on President Trump, with these questions around a pardon. Did anybody see or hear of the president himself doing anything inappropriate as it related to Jeffrey Epstein?
No, that was the answer there. It was very clear, but I'm sure, CJ, that's not going to stop this media narrative running stories about Trump and Epstein.
No, not at all. These people don't care if it's truthful. They don't care if it's a lie. All they want to do is attack this president. That moment was probably the most disappointing day in that woman's career as a journalist, because she didn't get the answer that she so desperately wanted there. But she got the truth. That's what matters here. And so, of course, I pray for these victims. I hope that they get the justice they deserve. I think President Trump wants them to get the justice that they deserve. But again, there's no there, no matter how hard they try to manufacture it.
Okay, well, moving on. Minnesota Democrat Ilhan Omar has recently denied that she was a millionaire, saying those claims were ridiculous. Yet there are reports that her net worth is up to $30 million. Now, it's reported in the her latest financial disclosure that her and her husband, former political consultant Tim Minette, accumulated a net worth at the end of 2024 ranging from at least $6 million to $30 million. They experienced a 3,500% increase in their wealth last year. Yet just in February, she was saying, I'm a working mom with a student loan debt, unlike some of my colleagues, and similar to most Americans, I'm not a millionaire and am raising a family while maintaining a residence in both Minneapolis and DC, which are among the most expensive housing markets in the country. CJ, she's painting a very different picture there. What do you make of this?
And mind you as well, I think members of Congress here in the States make around $174,000 a year. To turn that to many, many millions, well, I don't even know if Warren Buffett could do that. And so I'm a little concerned about that. And I think that warrants a little bit of a looking into. Here's the deal. All these people on the left, these progressives, they love to cosplay working class American when they're anything but that. They're limousine liberals, and she's no exception. And what I think was unfortunate about this is that public service used to be about public service. The idea that you go into office not a millionaire and all of a sudden become 100 millionaire is absolutely insane. And the math isn't mathing, to say the least.
Well, speaking about limousine liberals, let's talk about Mamdani. The New York Post has revealed that Hamas-backed Qatar has bankrolled film and stage projects by Zohran Mamdani's Israel-bashing movie director mom, and one of its royals is now pushing for his mayoral bid. I mean, what does this say about Mamdani?
clear that he's not good for this country and he's not good for the city of New York. And what we hope to see is that this field will coalesce, that, one of those men, whether it's Eric Adams, Andrew Cuomo, or Curtis Sowell, will make the decision that they need to get out of this race and unite behind someone who can beat this absolute disaster. And so hopefully it's going to take one of them sacrificing their ego. And there's a lot of egos in that race, but it's going to be what's best for the city and what's best for the country in the long term.
RNC Youth Advisory Council co-chair CJ Pearson, always so good to talk to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.